Welcome home, Raiders! This week, could Hellfire Citadel be the last raid of Warlords? And if so, when might we see that next expansion? And we've got a couple of guys that'll tell you exactly what to do while you're in there. This is CTR number 187.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft.
Convert to Raid podcast power station in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is July 12th, 2015, and it is now 11:15 a.m. Central Time. And thank you so much for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. And hello. My name is... Where is it? Oh, I lost all the things. There we go. Pat Crane. And I am the host of this show, also known as Zug around Airy Peak, US. And I am still raiding. And I'll tell you, I'll update you with all the things. And yes, the crew is here as well. The players are here. Let's go to California, and we'll go visit with the one, the only, Darius. Hi, Darius.
Hey, how about that Warcraft movie trailer? Did you guys see that?
Yeah. So we saw the trailer. Saw the trailer. Totally saw it. Yeah.
Nobody did.
Yeah. And other than Darius, here, let's get off the Darius shot here. We'll also be joined by the guys from LOS Gaming. First up, we have Tovo. Hi, Tovo.
Hey, everybody.
How are you?
What's up? I'm great.
Nice to see you, buddy. A lovely green screen. It's a lovely green screen. Knows how to hang a green screen, just like his partner in crime, Tattva. Hey, buddy.
Same exact deal.
Yeah,
They're
I know.
actually in the same room.
They are. They're in the same room and everything. Oh, probably not. No, probably not. Well, welcome to the show, fellas. So glad to have you here. It's really good. And I'm so. Oh, we have an issue. Oh, I know what it is.
What did you do to me?
I went to the wrong shot. On the video. It was like you were split in half. It was all weird. I'm like going, oh no, this is the wrong shot. This is not what I said.
Wearing my blue sweater in honor of Colt. The people need to see me.
Yes, they really do. And I just wanna talk about that real quick. It was great to see everybody's response to the last show. It was kind of amazing to see how many people were really, how it hit the feels and all that. I know that it hit us pretty hard as well during that show. It was it got a little weird for a while.
I think Tovo cried to that video like twice.
We watched it again last night and I cried again.
It was a tear. It was a heartfelt, bit for my buddy. So Coltrane, we wish you well. As always. But we have so much to talk about during the show. We really do.
I'm not doing a fortune cookie, by the way.
No, you're not.
Not happening.
And it's fine. That's totally cool. Don't worry about it. But I do kind of want to get to know Tattva and Tovo a little bit better because, we haven't really talked to you guys. We've seen you, of course, LOS Gaming. You're on YouTube, LOS Gaming Show, right? Is that, And then you're at LOS_gaming on Twitter so that people can get all of your videos. And you're also on the Convert to Raid site. And, if you just click on Raid Strats on the converttoraid.com, you'll get to see all of their different videos from Warlords. So that's kind of cool. How did you guys get started in video making? What was the plan when you guys, did you just say, hey, let's do this? I don't know. Tattva?
Yeah, no, I've always been kind of tinkering around with making videos and just, they're mostly like boss kill videos. Like maybe my first one was like our guild kill of Vash back in the day. Super cheesy, like Murloc singing at the end. And it was pretty amazing actually. But and that was one of those kills. I think you guys were talking about it last show where there's that like one person left standing. There's this rogue in our guild that he was the only one left and finished her off for us and stuff. It was an awesome kill. But anyways, just started making boss kill videos, and then Wrath of the Lich King, I made some more. Probably the first like kind of like tip video I made was for the Ragnaros like intermissions, just because like that was kind of crazy for my guild, and so I made this little 45-second video about that. And Tovo's been bugging me to do like to take it more seriously and stuff for a long time.
I've been harassing him to make more videos.
So you decided to get in on the action, is that it, Tovo?
But yeah, I'm riding in his coattails pretty much. Any chance that he got to make some videos, they were always amazing. Like he took the extra time to do all the video editing, and everything was just spot on. So I think it was the Lich King. When he made our Lich King video, we were a 10-man group, and we just started in, I think the buff at that time was like a 10% buff or something. It was late in the ICC raid cycle, and he made our kill video for Lich King, and the beginning cinematic was it blew me away at the time. And it was just all him. Like he just made it all from scratch. And that's whenever I really started to hound him. And then once Myths came around, we started raiding together again, just mostly him and I, and really getting into it. And then with Warlords, the announcement, everybody just got so hyped. It was a perfect situation. So we decided to start doing this together, and it's been pretty awesome so far. I mean, it's really taken off more than we expected. So
yeah. And now, of course, you guys you were on the launcher for Battle.net, which is amazing, and I think that you should get a big applause as soon as there we go.
Hey.
Had to get the volume there. But no, that's really cool. That's awesome that you guys, you're on the Battle.net launcher for LFR Wing 1, right? Are you going to be on for Wing 2 as well? Is that the plan?
Yeah, apparently because we didn't really know for a second there, and so we just like went back to making our normal videos, just the strat videos, trying to plug along through them, and then they sent us another email and just like, so what's your progress in the next one? Like we hadn't even started.
Don't tell them that.
We're
really
almost
far
done.
along.
Don't worry about it.
We were just waiting to finish it off until we got confirmation.
Putting that last little bit of polish on it,
Right.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I guess.
I think we're pulling an all-nighter.
So many of those lately.
Yeah. I mean, how has the process been going for Hellfire? I mean, I know that you guys have been super, super busy with that. So, Tattva, I mean, are you the one that's doing most of the video edits, or what?
Yeah, I do the video edits, and Tovo keeps ahead with the scripts and stuff. And I mean, it's a pretty good process. The only we're a little bit a lot of bit behind kind of from where we want to be as far as we should be done with all of the videos right now. But due to some like real life issues, I guess, like I went to Hawaii to work for a few weeks, and so basically missed the entire PTR. And so we've been having to play catch up like crazy this tier. I mean, we were able to get into PTR on Foundry and got some early footage and stuff, but yeah, it's been kind of
the
hectic.
PTR, the PTR, gathering all the art and stuff for that, and clipping everything out we need, and just sort of figuring out the general way the fight's going to go is so huge for getting ahead on releasing the videos. So yeah, missing that whole cycle was something that kind of put us behind a little bit, but we'll the next year we'll bring it back.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And as far as the boss fights go, I totally get it, because we at one point were like trying to do all these funny bits with all the encounters, and we were trying to do like one every couple of weeks. And man, if it gets away from you a little bit, it gets away from you a lot.
Before you know it, it's like 3 months in, and
right, and you're on the third boss, and everybody's going, "This is so old. What are you doing this for?" And I'm like, "Oh, jeez."
Yeah, we had that with Convert to Raid 2.
Yeah,
we had that problem.
Yeah,
there was someone. I remember someone had told me. They said, "Oh, our raid team's goal for progression is just to stay one boss ahead of what Convert to Raid 2 does."
which is
we were so far behind. I was like, how are you doing that?
I know. Well, life gets busy, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now it's irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant, whatever we do, and so let's just stop for a while and I don't know. Let's just do the live show and just be done.
Yeah, as far as success with the strat guides, it's all about the time. I mean, you can be not as good, let's say, and as long as you have yours up first, I mean, that's huge, So
yeah.
Well,
Well, you may not always be, first up, but you do have a great bit with 2-minute tips, right? So, I mean, how did you guys come up with doing a 2-minute video instead of, some longer form stuff like Gabesta or Fat Boss or whatever?
I think that was Tat's idea. Go ahead.
Tat?
Really? Okay.
I think so, because wasn't it because the title, like 2-minute tips, like it went along with your whatever that's called, using to like
the alliteration.
The alliteration, like
Tattva and Tovo with 2-minute tips. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was all him. I'm just like,
it sounds so beautiful. So like, how can you not? I mean, like actually, they're like more 2.5, 2:45, 3 minutes, but
the tip part usually is within the 2-minute window, but the extra stuff might bring it over.
Just a little bit of a stretch.
Well, but it's quick. I mean, it's a lot quicker and stuff like that, which is nice.
And the main part is the visual, showing the visual layout of the fight and everything.
Yeah, and you guys do something a little bit different with that too, don't you? I mean, you really do like kind of a cutout scenario where you can see where you're supposed to stack up, where range is, where melee is, where the tanks are, where the boss should be positioned, and you kind of do it a lot differently than other videos. How did you come up with that idea?
That was completely Tectus's fault, I think.
It was the Tectus video. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to get. Basically, that was the first boss video. We had made a few like challenge mode videos and some other stuff, but that was the very first boss strat video we've ever done, just as LOS Gaming or whatever. And we're trying to figure out a way to explain Crystalline Barrage and these pillars and all this stuff in a little bit, easier way to understand and stuff. And that just gave us the above view and just kind of took off from there. And just everything since, it just worked out so well as far as explaining positioning and like just the main things that we wanted to touch on. Like, I mean, we hit most abilities and try to talk about the important bits of the fight and just like to give people kind of a vibe of what the fight's going to be about. And
at one point, you also replaced the boss with something else, and I can't remember what it was. And it was for the Hellfire stuff, right? You replaced the boss with something else. What was it?
Oh, this way.
Chad hated that. Chad hated that.
What did you do? What did you do?
It was a really obvious joke that everybody made when they first got there. But replacing Gorfiend with Fat Bastard was
that was it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I laugh. Whatever, Tat.
Right.
So gross. That's the grossest picture.
He's like,
ever.
can we just use the soundbite and not put him in there? No, we have to put him in there.
No, you gotta do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I know that like when I'm raiding and I've seen a boss and we've wiped to it 150, 200 times, I'm sick of it by then. Do you guys get sick of the boss before we even start wiping on it because you've looked at it for 8, 9, 10 hours? Especially you, Tattva. Like all the editing, everything.
As far as editing, like don't really get sick of it. Maybe my own voice, maybe Tovo's voice a little bit, but yeah, it's just like
lining everything up. Yeah.
Yeah, listen to ourselves so many times, and it's the worst ever. But whatever.
We get in there, and we're pulling it the first time, and you're just like, God, I hate this boss already. None of us have even seen it.
Somebody has an idea to change the strat that we had like the first 3 minutes, and it's like, no, trust us, that's not going to work. We've already gone through that in our heads. There's no way and that ability doesn't even work that way. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, and we should clarify for those guys that don't know, you are a part of the Convert to Mythic team with Darius and others from the CTR
leader.
And so.
Hail.
Maybe we should talk about that a little bit. What is the Convert to Mythic progression so far as a team goes?
Darius,
you want to?
Oh,
you're the raid lead after all. I mean, come on.
We are 8 or 9 of 13. I honestly can't remember. In heroic, we haven't done any mythics yet, so right now we're still convert to heroic on the mythic part. But I think we're 8 or 9. I honestly can't remember. But we're doing pretty well. Tovo and Tattva are great to have on the team because every time we see a new boss, everyone falls asleep and Tattva talked for 20 minutes.
I should just send people to the video. It would be so much faster.
Right. Why don't you do that? I mean, you get more views that way. Come on.
True.
How do you make a 2-minute video, but when we get to the boss, your strat is 20 minutes long?
There's just so much I like to talk about.
Oh man.
But it's on the team because I mean they're both amazing raiders. Tovo is I don't understand how he does it. He ranks parses in the top 95 almost, close to 100% every single time.
And you're playing what? You're playing Hunter?
Yep, I've played Hunter 7 years. Yeah.
Wow.
My first character was a warrior, but ever since then I abandoned the human warrior, and I've been a Hunter ever since. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He's good. And then Tattva is usually at the bottom of the DPS, and he's like, "Oh, I'm recording video, guys. Don't."
Using that old chestnut, right? I'm totally doing video.
But your guide's already up. I'm getting extra shots.
But Tattva, you're playing Feral, right?
Yeah, Feral Druid.
I have questions for you.
Okay.
Because just so you know, I have started a new raid team because summers are so difficult for doing like nighttime raiding. I don't want to go until like 1 o'clock in the morning my time and then have to wake up at 6 or 7 and try to do things. Especially 2 nights in a row. So I started my own team. Good to the last drop. This was the name that I used back in Wrath days and so on in Kata. And now we're back to it. Morning team, weekday morning team. Oh, wow. It's beautiful. 7 a.m. server, which is Pacific time. So it's great for me, and it's totally cash. But I am switching from healing on my Resto Druid to going feral.
Heck yeah!
Big news.
And it is difficult.
Oh man,
feral is one of the more difficult DPS positions I've been in.
Really?
And I don't know how. I mean, is it just managing those different buffs, managing Savage Roar, and really trying to manage Rip and all that other stuff? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, just keep your dots up, keep everything up. I mean, that's your main right. Priority is just
go to 5, hit Rip, and just keep going.
Yep, Rip, break. I'm kind of like, I mean, I've played a Druid for my entire WoW career.
Mm-hmm.
And since
how many days played do you have on your Druid? In game.
It's probably approaching 400 or so.
Wow.
But anyways, I've spent a lot of time on this character.
Yeah.
My very first 60. And like I've been playing it for such a long time. And I know everyone's gonna freak out, but like Blood Talons is better and blah blah blah. But I've loved the Druid the whole time. And like, I don't know if you remember that like video, that YouTube video back in the day, the Moonfire spam, like super
yeah,
spam
kinda,
thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I've never been a boomkin, and when they gave Moonfire to cats, I can't choose another talent. It's just, I do it sometimes, but it's all about the Moonfire. So
So you keep that as your talent? You don't do Blood Talons at all?
I mean, if I want to try to attempt to beat Tovo, I'll have to go Blood Talons. Like,
It's
why
it's actually the best for soloing. Having Moonfire on your bars, because then that way you can actually get kills before somebody steals it from you and
things.
And
there's
jungle.
There's way better classes in the raid too, AoE and stuff, and like the Feral's DPS single target is really strong. So.
Yeah. But AoE is total garbage. Like that entire first fight in Hellfire, total garbage for Feral Druids. Might as well just volunteer for running bombs. You'll be fine.
Well, I mean, the big thing is like, I think a lot of raid teams DPS get thrown into the same role. Like, you guys are all DPS. This is what you do. You do damage. And so the more damage you do, the better it is, kind of thing. And it's based on meters and all that kind of stuff. But that's the mentality for the most part. But there are certain classes, like a Feral Druid, they're strictly single target.
Right.
Like, I mean, they can help out with AoE if... No, they can't at all. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. But as far as single target, there's basically nobody better. I don't think. I don't know. They're pretty strong single target. And so if you really get down into the nitty gritty of things and look at like the important target damage and stuff, they have a role, and they have a very important role. And so like for instance, Beast Lord, like it's a major AoE fight. There's tons of ads and all that kind of thing. But if you look at strictly boss damage or even the major ad damage, Feral Druids will be way up top, if not the number one. And so as far as just like that mentality of DPS being all, you know, the more you do, the better you are, like there's a role for everyone, and Feral Druids fill a very specific and important role. But
so, I mean, as far as that goes, then do you think, I mean, especially for Beast Lord, I mean, you do thrash and swipe and the things are dead before you even hit swipe. I mean, it's, you know, all the little ads were just so quickly burned down that it made no difference whatsoever in your DPS. So do you think that, I mean, as far as Feral Druids go, I mean, they're very specific. Do you think that they should just pick out the most important target and tunnel? I mean, is that... Yeah, it's basically, I think that one of the things that a lot of raid leads should be aware of is just what classes they have and what they're good at, and make them, you know, let them do that role or whatever. Like for me, Beast Lord, I didn't touch anything else except for the boss and the big ad. Like they're good for double target and single target, but anything beyond that, they're awful. But
especially when the rest of the raid, you know, is super excited when they see the pack beasts come out and they just blow all their cooldowns and AoE, and so they get maybe two ticks of their bleeds if they try to do AoE, and then they die. So it was just total waste of resources, and it makes kills. There's always a kill where you just, why was our damage so much better there? Why did it seem so much more clean than our other kills? And it's a lot of times it's whenever the classes get into the roles that they're good at, you know.
Right.
You don't focus on the overall damage. You got to break it down. Like he was saying, for boss damage, like overall damage isn't boss damage, especially in Hellfire Citadel. Like ads are everything in this raid for a lot of fights. So, you know, you really got to break down what everybody's actually doing and not just the overall bottom line of the fight.
Yeah, and Chiefs in the chat room, he says, "Don't swipe, LOL." And I'm like, yes, I understand that swipe is terrible, but I'm just like, that's it for AOE. Really, you have thrash, you have swipe, and if you hit swipe, I mean, you're kind of doing it wrong.
That's like a marksman hunter hitting multi-shot. Like you have to have, I don't people roast me, but you have to have like 10 targets or something, or 8. Or to even come close to being better than just your single target rotation. It's just a waste.
Right. So. Are you playing Marks or are you playing Beastmaster? Because nobody's playing survival anymore, are they?
Blizzard hates survival.
They really do, and I'm like, I love survival. I love that spec.
No, I was survival last year. It was really competitive. People will argue, well, you didn't get the burst on the primary targets, but we weren't. You know, we weren't pushing the fights, the progression to a level that really mattered. So, survival's really was really competitive. And then they fixed the bug. There was a bug that every time you cast Arcane Shot or Multi-Shot, it would apply Serpent Sting dot on the hit of that, as well as applying the dot to it. So it would do the almost double damage. And Serpent Sting was so strong that everyone's like, all his damage is Serpent Sting. That's just a dot. Well, I'm applying it over and over and over every time I use a global cooldown on those.
Right.
And that initial tick is what the actual damage was, not just the ticking over time. Right. But Marksman for Hellfire Citadel, Marksman is insane. I don't have 4-piece yet, but we just turned into a Gatling gun because it turns aim shots into instant casts.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, we just because we get the basically 100% crit when targets are above 80% health. So it's almost if we have enough. We have what 4 hunters in our raid. There are going to be times where we can just have the hunters do high priority targets,
Right.
especially with the 4-piece, and let everybody else do everything else. And then the fight turns into this way easier, more managed for healers, for everybody situation. So, and we have our kill shot. It starts at 35% health, so that in between 80 and 35 doesn't last very long anyway. So we can just destroy high priority heads.
I've been playing survival so long on my hunter that I've totally forgot about kill shot. Totally. I'm like, that's not even a thing on my bars at all.
They can give kill shot to survival, and it might beat a tank in DPS.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I know that
like,
I'm beating a tank with my feral DPS, which is great. Of course, I'm also out gearing the tanks because we were pushing into mythic last year, and this time around we're just doing normals. We're just like, yeah, let's just do normals. Let's keep it casual, all this kind of stuff. We might be here for a while in Hellfire Citadel, so let's just do 1 day a week, a few hours, and have some fun with friends and blah blah blah. But I do kind of look forward to figuring feral out.
Yeah, no, feral's amazing.
Getting some practice at it anyway.
Yeah, I should come with my mage. You'd probably beat me on my mage, so it'd be a nice little team on the bottom of the charts. It'll be awesome.
We have a bunch of people like running alts and running, different tunes and stuff like that. And then also because it's more casual and because we're not planning on going outside of a flexible raid size, people are doing more than that afterwards. They're like, hey, getting together on Friday, getting together, whenever, other friends, other places. It's kind of a nice place to be because I don't have to worry about recruiting anymore for that team, which is great. And I know that you guys are probably always recruiting, right, Darius?
Yeah. I mean, we're recruiting right now. We're looking for some DPS. A boomkin would be great. A mage.
I can go boomkin if you want.
No,
I can switch from my terrible feral.
I've seen your boomkin.
Yeah, you know what? My boomkin is better than my feral.
Don't tell your morning team that.
No, I've already told them that. I said on Twitter I found out the DPS spec that I'm worse at than balance this week. I'm like, yep, that's it. That's it.
But yeah, convert to mythic.com. We're looking for more raiders. Apply. Ranged would be good. Ranged would be really good.
So
yeah.
So yeah, you can go do that. Now I also want to talk to Tattva and Tovo about what your raiding experience has been like in Warlords, just kind of in general, and what you guys think about the different breakdowns between mythic and heroic and normals and whatever. And Tattva, how have you enjoyed the Warlords experience with all the changes to rating this time around?
Like, I mean, I'm kind of a fanboy as far as basically anything Blizzard, and ratings. I just enjoy rating so much, just coming up with strats, doing all that kind of thing, and I love it. It's good to be back. Like, it took a little bit of break at the end of mists and stuff, just probably like a lot of people, but with Warlords and the mythic, like making that a solid 20 players and all the flexible rating and stuff, it's a lot more accessible to a lot more people. There's less stress on guilds and raid leaders and filling these positions. Like, if someone doesn't show up, it really doesn't matter that much anymore.
Right.
I mean, there's a specific, like if your tank doesn't show up, it's a little rougher, or one of your main healers or something. But I mean, other than that, it's just a lot easier to raid these days, it seems. And the encounter, but on the other hand, the encounters are all still top notch. It's been so much fun learning all the boss fights and some really good encounters this expansion.
Right. And Tovo, are there some bosses in Hellfire that you're looking at where you really take a look at the mechanics and you're like, oh my god, this is so amazing right now? Anything
we haven't attempted heroic Manaroth, but on normal, whenever we were doing it, it just feels so epic. I mean, everyone will say the last boss is the most epic, but it's just so highly tuned that it's really difficult. But I can't wait. I can't wait to get there. One thing I know how you were talking about last year. You talked about on the show. And we talked about it with the raid team. how you feel like there's a gap in between the flexible heroic raider and then that hard 20 mythic,
Right.
whether it's the hard 20 or it's the difficulty of the content. And I think it really feels like they've stepped up Hellfire Citadel. Like the heroics are pretty difficult.
Yeah. Well, then
they're really tough. So.
Didn't they have to go through and retune a bunch of the earlier fights anyway, and kind of dumb them down a little bit because they were just too hard or whatever?
Yeah, I've heard arguments that maybe that they're placing too much. They've made the set pieces too valuable, the 4 pieces. They made the class trinkets too valuable, and that once you get those, maybe everything sort of tunes down nicely. You get powerful enough that you sort of break through the barrier that they created with the new fights. But without that stuff, it just seems so difficult. I mean, it's a great in between gap, especially with now that they have the gear scaling from. I'm not sure how many bosses before they scale up from 700 to 705. I don't remember that chart, but they've done a really good job. I mean, we're not the whole way through it, and there's lots of 10 out of 10 mythic groups from last year that having a lot of trouble with the last, with Archimonde or whatever
right.
on heroic. So
yep,
it's pretty interesting.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
And let's see, was there anything else? Darius, do you have any other questions about the videos that they make, or about rating with these guys, or anything that you can think of? Because I know that we've got a lot of news to get into, and I want to hear your opinions on this stuff too. And we have some other stuff to talk about before we actually hit the news.
Yeah. Over the last, let's say, 2 weeks, how many minutes of sleep have you gotten? Not even going to say hours because I know it doesn't go that
Tattva,
far.
how many minutes of sleep have you gotten? How many?
Well, I think I broke probably my personal record as far as least amount of sleep in over a 3-day period. I think it was last Thursday morning to early Sunday morning. So those basically 72 hours. I think I slept 5. I slept 3 hours.
Wow.
Like maybe Friday morning, and then 2 hours Saturday afternoon or something like that. It was a nightmare.
Oh.
He was super fun to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you, man. I know what that's like a little bit. Being stuck in production and just being nose down into it and just like tunneling.
Yeah.
Hoping that it will end soon. So how many bosses do you have left to
Just
do? 2?
Manoroth and Archimonde. So
And you're going to be filming that today, right?
yeah, right after this, we're going into normal and getting some footage and finishing them up.
Cool. And again, you can go check out their videos on YouTube. It's LOS Gaming Show over there, or you can follow them on Twitter at LOS_gaming, or you can go to the Convert to Raid site and click on Raid Strats, and their vids will pop up and everything. So and we enjoy having you guys on the site. And Darius, was it you that found them initially, or was it the train? I can't even remember.
I don't remember.
But I saw the video and I was like going, we need this on the site. We need this. It's 2 minutes. It's awesome. So it's like, yes, this is exactly it. We'll maybe play a game with that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, I mean, that first shout out that Colt did for us. Like, I mean, our Twitter is nothing. Like, we're the most active Twitter out there. Like, totally. We're just tweeting all the time.
Right.
Anyways, but
you have like 10 tweets.
Yeah. Over a year.
But it was like, I think during Foundry at one point, and it was one of those times when I had stayed up forever, just gone to sleep, and then my phone just starts flipping out, like all of this like Twitter action, and I'm just like, what is going on? And
That was our food video about raid food, wasn't it?
No. It was Colt.
Yeah, it was.
It was
I know.
and then the tweets.
It was one of your first. I think it was one of your first fight videos.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't necessarily the food stuff, because I know that you did that like early on in the expansion, just to
Still figuring everything out.
to kind of try to get the process down, right? So, but yeah, it was Coltrane that brought it up. The chat room confirmed it, And I immediately just jumped on it. And I was like, nope, we need these guys on our site. I so jumped over and contacted you guys. I'm like, we need you. And you're like, yeah, let's do this thing. Okay, cool. So
Yeah, we're blown away.
Yeah,
Blown away.
we really enjoy having you on the site. And now it's so great to see that you're on the launcher. You know, your vids are on the launcher for the LFR stuff, and you've been getting tons of downloads. I've been checking out the views, especially for like Blackhand. You're almost to like 200K. That's amazing. So congrats to you guys on all your success and continued success on your video stuff.
Yay.
Yeah,
You guys are a huge part of that too. I mean, it was just surreal, you know, whenever you guys reached out to us, and then the Blizzard.
we had to
I think
do
it
it.
was Zarheim or something. He randomly-
Zarheim,
Zarheim, whatever.
Zarman About Town. Yeah.
Yeah. He sent us a message on Twitter, like, look, asking us for an email. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is great. whatever he wants to email us about, I'm for it. So,
Right.
And that whole thing came about, so it was pretty exciting.
It's very cool indeed. We have a couple of things to run through before we get to the news, and the first thing is going to be talking about the CTR guild raid tool, the raid builder. So here's what happened. Like a couple of shows ago, we talked about the raid builder, right, Darius? And we were talking about everything that it does and blah 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 blah, and apparently Blizzard Watch, those guys over there were kind of like half watching the show, which is totally great. I love that you're half watching the show. But I kind of want to reiterate what it actually is that is available for. It's just for the CTR guild. Darius, can you explain exactly what the raid builder is? I just want to get the right information out there for folks, so you're not misinformed.
So it's a tool for, like Zug said, for CTR raid teams to organize their raid teams, organize strats, do auditing of the raid team members, see who's gemmed, enchanted, and the gear they're wearing, things like that. It's also a recruitment tool for CTR raid teams. It's a tool if you're looking for a raid team, you can go there and apply to raid teams that way. But it really only does work for guilds or raid teams within CTR. It's not designed for anything outside of that,
right,
unfortunately.
And it's not an add-on, and it's not anything else. And Hansi says, "Isn't Darius a CTR raid tool?" And yes, that's exactly it.
Bravo.
Whatever, Hansi. I don't miss you, Hansi.
Oh, Hansi. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. It's just for the CTR guild. It's something that we built because we wanted to make sure that we're taking care of our raid teams as best we can. It's easier for us to manage, and it really is. Now that it's out and people are building their raid teams with this thing, it's amazing. I was doing it all with the Good to the Last Drop team, the new team. And we broke the system, and we built it back up. And I was talking to Macus, who was building a bunch of stuff, and Part Shark, and all these other guys, and I'm like going, "Hey, how about this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that'd be a great idea." And so just throwing stuff into the system as it kind of gets going, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you again to Darius and Part Shark and Macus and whoever else was helping out with the raid builder tool. It's taken forever to get it out, but it's so amazing. So it's very, very good. The other thing that I want to bring up real quick and is the well played party. The well played party. This is the BlizzCon party. That's what it's being called now, because it's being handled by the CTR Guild, not by CTR, the CTR show necessarily, or the Signals Media Network. No, it's being handled by the CTR Guild. And Jules and Spencer and Turarts and all these other guys, officers of the guild, and friends, leaders from the community are putting it together. And guess what, guys? Our big goal of putting on the party is a go. So we hit our $8,000 goal on Wednesday. So the party is going to be happening at BlizzCon Friday night. And the times are, I think it starts at like 6 or 7. So be looking forward to the party. That's amazing. We still have like 10 days left on the Kickstarter, and we do have some stretch goals going, one of which is a live stream. And we're less than $1,000 away from the live stream. Live streams are kind of expensive when you do them from a hotel.
Yeah.
Go figure. So we got about $1,000 to go to the live stream stuff. If we really get a lot of money going, I heard that if we hit 25K, we can have free drinks for an hour. For an hour. This is
People
what
are going to die.
This is what the hotel said. Yeah, I know. And especially if you were at the last one, there was lots of inside jokes from the CTR Guild here. But if you know the Kinsman speech at all, things got weird, as they always do in
standing on tables
at BlizzCon. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So there was a bunch of goofy crap that happened over there, and we expect that we'll be doing more goofy crap. And then after that, we've got more stretch goals, so you can go check it out. It is tinyurl.com/wellplayedparty, all one word, or you can go to wellplayedparty.com. That can link you over to the Kickstarter stuff as well. So, big thanks to everybody that donated. And now, let's go into the raid news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
All right, now that we're halfway through the show, it's time to check out what's happening in the news for raiders around World of Warcraft land. And up first, let's take a look at Hellfire Citadel raiding and who is number one right now. Darius, do you have the numbers?
Yeah, so right now, Method is number one, followed closely by Paragon, and sometime in the last 24 hours, Exorcist actually got Manara 2, so they are all 12 of 13.
Wow, that is amazing, and big applause to those guys.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's pretty cool, and I think, do you think that we're going to actually see a kill of Archimonde this lockout, or is it going to be another lockout? Tattva, let's go to you first.
I'd like to see him survive one more time.
Kind of draw it out a little bit more.
Yeah, like one of the fun parts of the last race, like with Blackhand, was that moment, like that Tuesday morning after reset, our guild's going to re-clear, or are they just going to go straight back? And I'd like to see him have to make that decision again, just to put another kink in the works or whatever. I think it'd be funny just to see if one guild actually decided to stay and just push through, and then they end up taking it or something. Like if Exorcist did that, like, and just beat out the other two guilds without getting all the new gear. But the new gear might just be necessary. It might just be impossible to kill at this point.
Right.
Things got a little strange yesterday with lockouts. Speaking of that, Method tried to go into their raid and they weren't allowed in. Their lockout was bugged.
Whoa.
Yeah, when they tried to enter, they all would get booted. They'd get that thing that pops up that says you're in an invalid raid group, or you're in a raid group.
Was it resolved?
Yeah, it took. You could see them. They were all on Twitter, and they were spamming Blizzard CS. And
they didn't have any urgency whatsoever to try to get in there. No,
I think it took a couple hours though, but they were finally able to get into their lockout and raid. But it was it could have been real bad.
Now is Midwinter still number 5 on that?
Yeah, Midwinter's still number 5 behind From Scratch. Mm-hmm. They're 11 of 13 with rapid eye movement and what's that guild from China? Why can't I think of their name?
Is it Stars or whatever?
Yeah, Stars. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to go to Wild Progress now.
They're all 11 of 13, and then there's a bunch that are 10 of 13 and lower. Limit the Blood Legion.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Faction is 10.
So Limit is the new offshoot, right, from Blood Legion? Does anybody know what happened there? Did they just decide, we'll just start a new guild now that Blood Legion is kind of taking a back seat? We'll just start a new guild and we'll kind of repair the damage and all that kind of stuff from the last tier. Is that basically it? Anyone?
There's a lot of guys. There's a few guys from Blood Legion. There's not a whole lot of guys from Blood Legion, so I don't know what happened there.
Okay. Well, I know that Blood Legion is still around. They're still raiding. They're just taking a back seat they're just kind of not doing it as hardcore. And I think last time I saw, they were they had 2 mythic bosses down. And so, I mean, they're just kind of taking it easy. And it's kind of nice that Midwinter, who's on they're on a limited schedule, I think, this time around, they're still number 5. And that's right where they thought that they would be. That's right where they kind of wanted to be. They wanted to, hey, if we can finish top 5, great. And if not, that's okay, because we're on a limited schedule.
They're still number 1 alliance. So
they're still number 1 in my heart.
Aww.
That's the big thing. Tovo, do you have any favorite guilds that are in this race right now?
I mean, I guess Midwinter isn't in the race since there's only they're only 11 now, and they probably don't have a chance. But I really love every time I've seen any streams with Midwinter, their the attitude. You guys have talked about it a lot, but their attitude on how they go about disciplining or just the way that they bring people in and out, it's amazing, and it's rare. So and the fact that they're U.S. and they're just they're up there with the big boys is amazing. Isn't it true that Method killed Manaroth a second time before anybody else had killed him? Is that true?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I think I think they had re-cleared and they had killed him. But it took days. It took 2 or 3 days for them to kill him, even a second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. I mean, they're really, I can't imagine just the hours you put in. I mean, I feel like I've experienced the pressure for a very short time that they're experiencing, but not over hours and hours and days and weeks.
Right.
That they have to keep doing over and over, like taking out work. And I just, it's insane.
It's like your production schedule. Right.
Yeah.
So they're getting 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night maybe during progression, and then having to get back up and do it all over again and figure it all out and
trying to be perfect and
right. And there's tons of pressure. I mean, outside of rating as well. I mean, especially with recruiting and making sure that all your guys understand exactly what's going on, what your strats are going to be, and all that kind of jazz. I mean, that's pretty intense. That's why I'm working the casual circuit right now.
Yeah.
Because screw it, I don't need that. It's summer. Let's go out and have fun. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And I know that we saw a bunch of Archimonde fixes this week, especially on Mythic difficulty. It seems like Archimonde's like they did a nerf to Doomfire a little bit, and Shadowfell was like the day before that, where they took out these big nerfs. Is Archimonde really that tough? Tattva, do you know if that boss is really just a wall right now?
Yeah, I mean, you can just see it by the numbers on WoW progress and stuff. Just a lot of people are having a hard time taking him down. Like Tovo mentioned earlier, the 10 out of 10 mythic guilds from Foundry can get in there expecting this like walk through in heroic, and they just run into this wall at the end. And no, it'll be interesting to see how they affect the race and, people's progress and stuff. Of course, it will help, but, whether it's a big deal or not, going from 1.5 million to 900,000, it's like...
that's kind of a big nerf. I mean...
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Right.
So bad.
It's not... it's no feather anymore. I mean, it's not like being hit with a feather, but it is, quite the nerf at the same time. And,
More...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
More guilds have killed Mythic Hellfire Assault than have killed Heroic Archimonde.
Whoa.
There you go.
Yeah, that's if that's any kind of indication as to how hard it is. And Hellfire, it's not a it's an intro boss, but it's not a pushover on Mythic either.
Right.
With all these changes, it seems like he's not going to survive to the next lockout. It just seems like they're on top of it and they're watching it, and it just makes me feel like they're going to one more hot fix or one more change, or if it stays the same and they've been working on the same strat for so it doesn't seem like he's going to survive, but it'd be interesting if he did.
Well, and the devs are watching these guys. I mean, they're over their shoulders going, okay, exactly how are you guys defeating this encounter or attacking this encounter, and how can we help make sure that you're not like stopped forever so that we can have an actual end to this race at some point.
They have to be difficult too, because if they change one mechanic, even a small nerf to a mechanic, it can change everything because you've got the guilds working on it and their strat works a very specific way to handle that.
Mhm.
And even if they nerf it slightly, everything could change, and then they're hours behind where they used to be. And, maybe the other team is working on it a little bit differently. So then there's, it affects everything. So they have to be so careful in how they nerf these bosses live.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. And then Bear Kitty in the chat room says, "What's up with Mythic Tyrant Velhari? Only 8 kills there as well. So another tough boss." So
yeah, really, really difficult. Eight kills. There's significant drop offs you can see from like heroic. It's a pretty linear drop, and then you get to Archimonde, and it just drops off significantly. But even Hellfire, it's very similar. First couple bosses, most people kill those, and then boom, it just drops off at Shadow Lord, and then Vilhari,
right,
and
right.
Manara.
Speaking of the encounters, I mean, I know that you guys are 7 or 8 right now. Heroic
9.
9. Do you guys have a favorite encounter? I mean, we went through and we got like 4 bosses on normal, so I don't really think that I have a good beat on things quite yet. But with those kind of kills, Tovo, what do you have a favorite encounter right now?
As far as fun mechanics, I really like Gorefiend. I mean, it has the DPS's buffed damage to him while he's feasting.
Yeah.
It has the adds to kill shot snipe constantly. I really enjoy it as far as that goes. But it's not the most difficult encounter, but
it doesn't. Hey, the most fun usually isn't the most difficult, right?
Right, exactly.
The one you can scumbag the most.
Yeah, exactly. Tattva, how about you? Or do you have a favorite encounter right now?
That's a tough one. I don't know. Like, I mean, most of my WoW career I was tanking, and so this is actually the first expansion that I've actually done feral DPS. But I'm super jealous of the tanks being able to drive Sokrathar around. Like, I'd love to do that. Like, it would be so much fun. But so I guess that would be my favorite without me actually being able to do it my favorite way, I guess. I don't know.
Right. You should off tank for those guys. I'm sure you would be just fine. You totally should. Talk to Darius.
Two bears. I don't know about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on your bear, Darius?
No, but I'm on my priest, but one of our tanks, Kaboom, is a guardian druid.
Gotcha. Cool. Very cool. Now we also have this week for those LFR heroes out there, we have Raid Finder Wing 2 coming out, right? And this is Hellfire Council, Kilrog, and Gorefiend, your favorite. So it should be fun to get in there and go and get those those achievements and maybe get some more of the whatchamacallit, those things that you collect for the legendary, whatever they are.
The tomes.
Yeah, the tomes. So go in and get those and yell at people for not knowing strats and for not watching the video on the damn launcher now.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You gotta stay at the launcher for a little bit. 2 minutes. That's all it takes. Now you guys just got done with this video, right?
Yeah, last night.
Last night. All right. Well, it's still fresh in your mind.
5 hours ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I wanna play a little game here.
Yeah.
Because you guys are known for having the 2-minute tips. I want to see if you can do LFR strats in a little bit quicker time.
Oh, great.
And I'm thinking 10 seconds. So I'm going to go to Tattva, I'll go to you first because you probably have the least amount of sleep. And I'll play a little bit of music. You'll have 10 seconds and we'll go through Hellfire High Council. And you've got 10 seconds. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, tank them 25 yards apart. We'll keep Dia 25 yards apart. Kill Gurtog, then kill Blademaster, then kill Dia. If you get mark of
Burp.
destruction.
10 seconds is quick.
Mhm.
All right.
I'm gonna kill Kilrog. You watch.
All right.
I'm
Well, we got Kilrog,
Kill
Deadeye
ass.
next. And Tovo, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Kill the ads on Kilrog, kill the ads on Kilrog, and kill the ads on Kilrog. If you get the knife thing, run away, kill the ads on Kilrog. Kill the ads.
Wow, you did it! Congratulations, buddy. Nice work. You didn't talk about now in LFR. Do you go into the room? Do you have the little things?
Yeah, you can. We were actually really surprised because of how they changed a lot of the other mechanics with LFR in the past.
Mhm.
That they didn't just randomly pick people to go into the visions.
Right.
You actually still have to. But I'm
Because there's a
guessing-
little bit of teamwork that goes into it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's interesting because I think people that know better are going to fight over those runes. There's going to be the entire raid stacked on all three of them,
Sure.
hoping that they get picked to go in,
Right.
because it gives you a huge damage and healing boost. But yeah, it'll be. It's interesting that they didn't change that. So yeah, but you probably don't need to go in there.
Probably
depending
not.
on how the gear is with everybody.
Because the effect is when you come out of there, you can what is it? What happens when you come out? You have that little
The healers have an aura that
Yeah.
take the debuff away from the melee and the tanks.
right.
And they do a lot more healing.
A lot more healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the DPS
Do
have
a lot more
huge
deeps.
DPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get a 20 stack of if they kill 20 demons in the visions, they get a huge damage bonus, which on heroic and stuff, they can just almost one shot the ads by themselves. And then they just, they blow up the boss really quickly. So yeah, everyone's going to be fighting to get over that since it's not random. But as long as you kill the ads and the Heartseeker doesn't hit every melee,
Mhm.
you're probably going to be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
That Heartseeker, man. I tell you. All
Yeah.
right.
Arrows are bad.
I'm-
If there's an arrow, don't stand in it.
Well, I'm just kind of angry that the Heartseeker thing in normal and so on can target melee. I don't like that. I don't know. I've been targeted. I was targeted the other day, and I'm like, really? I'm behind the
I think
boss.
that's a mistake.
Are
way
you
far
lacking
away.
range in your group?
Yeah.
Maybe no. We're range heavy. So,
It seems
It
like
shouldn't
maybe
be
if
able to
people
target it.
well,
yeah, maybe if people move in for visions prematurely, there
maybe.
may be too many in melee, and then
mm,
it might target a melee. That's possible because people do cheat in on the vision groups.
I was definitely target. I mean, we have our first meeting was this week. We had 20 some odd guys, and girls. So it was. So I don't know. It was all kind of chaos. I was looking at boss butt. I have no idea.
That's probably what happened. People sort of scooted it. They may have been dodging death throws and got too close, or cheating on the visions.
Oh, cheating on the visions! All right, we've got one more. We've got one more LFR boss to go through, and it's Gorefiend. And Tattva, you can you can try to get some honor back here by actually finishing the strat in 10 seconds. 10
Yeah.
seconds. All right, here we go.
Maybe
In
similar to Kilrog.
in 3, 2, 1, go.
Kill the ads.
Mhm.
Kill the ads.
Mhm.
Kill the ads.
Mhm.
Kill the ads. Go in the belly. Kill more ads. Come out. Feast for souls. Pop lust. Kill them.
Oh, congratulations! Yeah, there we go.
You're learning.
Short and sweet. So kill the ads is pretty much that's pretty much the entire thing for Hellfire Citadel in any mode, right?
Yeah, there's so many bosses that have high priority ads that it's almost like they took mechanics where they could have just made swirlies or void zones or debuffs, and they gave them to the ads to do as priorities. So there's so many boss fights that ads are enormous. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's cool. I mean, and I'm kind of glad to see that LFR Wing 2 is coming out for those guys that haven't seen it yet or whatever. And so now you know how to do LFR. Kill the ads. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. And we'll still talk about Hellfire Citadel, but a little bit differently because since last show, we had Cory Stockton talk to Mamie Twink. And it's little video interview that you guys can watch. I know that it's all over the place right now. But talking to Cory Stockton, and Cory Stockton said a couple of things that kind of took me by surprise. First of all, was that Hellfire Citadel is currently planned to be the last raid of the expansion. I don't know how I feel about that.
Internet exploded
Yeah.
when
No.
that was announced.
Really? No.
Yeah.
No.
they don't explode.
They
I don't know where
They
like,
implode. It's totally
there's
different.
just been so much anger and so much hate. Like I figured it would have dissipated by now, that people just would run out of anger. But man, when they announced that, it was
Right.
just like renewed.
So
It's like
So why were people so angry, Darius? What was kind of the deal?
I mean, people were expecting another raid for lore reasons, for the fact that your legendary ring upgrades to almost eye level 800, but now why 4?
Right.
For an expansion lasting a long time. I mean, if this is going to be the last raid of the expansion, when's the next one coming out? Because they haven't even announced anything. And if you've got a year lead time, we're looking at a year of Hellfire Citadel.
Yeah, and how is that so different from the problems that we had with Siege of Orgrimmar?
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't fix anything; it makes it worse.
Oh, there are so many problems with this little announcement that happened with Mamie Twink, and not because of those guys at all. And I think that Blizzard communication has just been kind of all over the place, because wasn't it just like a few weeks ago that Ian Hazzikostas in the Polygon interview that we talked about on this show, he said, "Oh, there's more story to tell."
Yeah.
So they still have to have a patch where they introduce flying.
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible that they can finish off the story and add content that isn't raid content, but sooner with the flying patch? Like, I don't know if it's
more garrison stuff.
Yeah, more ships.
More ships.
Mm-hmm. Aircraft carriers. in the ship.
Aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Because flying is a thing, so might as well have aircraft carriers, right?
Yeah, as far as the raids go, as long as we're not stuck for a year, in this raid, that's fine. But if lore is a problem, then I don't know anything about lore. But if lore is an issue, then they can maybe sum it up with other content other than raids, as long as it's not a year or more of this last raid. Mm-hmm. So
I don't know. I mean, Tattva, don't we have to get a sanctum, a ruby sanctum, or a something?
Yeah, I mean, like, people always use the sanctum thing, but I would prefer Sunwell personally. Like, I mean, I know they say this is the last raid or whatever, but I mean, Sunwell wasn't a tier. It wasn't an additional tier. It was just a new raid. That's all it was, and it was an awesome instance.
Yeah, people really like that one. So,
but, I mean, like Tovo said, if they launch the new expansion and have a new raid sooner than a year, I mean, that's like, as long as they stick to their schedule. Like, it's been nice this time around. I mean, Heimdall came out, with launch, and then Foundry was really not that far behind. Like, and then now a few months later, Foundry was February, and then this is June. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that they're on a pretty good clip, and if they can keep that up, whether it's this expansion or next, I know there's the money issue. Like, was Warlords worth it with only 2 or 3 raids, or whatever?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the other things I know that a lot of people are talking about. Mm-hmm. I paid X amount of money for this expansion, and I expect to have a certain amount of content with it, and I didn't get it.
I just bought a pizza last night that was $25, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah. And that didn't last for 6 months or a year or whatever.
It's way gone.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't survive the night. So I don't
$60 for the hundreds of hours that I put
hundreds.
in.
Right.
Yeah. It's the best deal in entertainment.
Well, yeah, and I got South Park Stick of Truth, and that didn't last me as long as Warlords has, so
yeah, they're plenty. I mean, just look at like the single player, or in a lot of games that come out now, and you're looking at most 10 hours, for most of these
10 or 15 or whatever. Yeah, that is does seem to be the norm. So I don't know, but I just don't know. Okay, there's another thing that came out as well, and this is from I can't remember the article where Legacy, Lou Legacy or whatever. It was like this business article, right? And this business article says that Blizzard expects the next StarCraft 2 expansion in March, the next World of Warcraft expansion to be tied with the Warcraft movie, so that's going to be in June, and Overwatch in June. And so now it really is kind of looking like, I mean, especially, I get it. They want to tie the next expansion to the movie. That makes total sense to me. Mm-hmm. Get new people into the game, reinvigorate the base a little bit. But that means that, we're going to be struggling.
Did they say there's not going to be a new tier or no raid? Because
he specifically said it's the last raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an
None
issue.
here.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
If that June release is a thing,
Right.
But it seems like there's mixed messages, and it seems like they may be scrambling, or because a year expansion it goes back to what they've been saying. That's what they want to do. So
Right.
if they stick with that, that's great. But if June, they have to have something. I mean,
Yeah.
the rating is what this game is.
Corey,
maybe for me, but,
I really don't want to leave Warlords, because when we leave Warlords, we have to leave our garrison behind. And I have a feeling my followers and everything, they're going to get sad that they don't see me every day.
They're just going to be walking around the garrison going, "Where's our commander?"
Yeah.
We're just kind of left here, and then it's going to turn into Lord of the Flies and that kind of stuff.
that has great machinima video potential, by the way.
Oh yeah, totally, it totally does. You guys need to make that when you have some spare time. As soon as you get all the bosses done, just start doing that. Just start doing some machinima.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll have a year. Apparently.
We've plenty of time.
Right.
No, but I mean, like Tovo was saying, even with flying, there's like a lot of internal not conflict, but discussion, I guess.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, they even came out and said that. Just they were thinking that this was going to be better than the community spoke out, and then so they reverted. And so, I mean, this might just be one of those things like miscommunication or
Right.
just mixed messages and two different things. But yeah, I don't expect them, like if that's their schedule, new expansion in June, there's no way they won't release something, even if it is a Ruby Sanctum, maybe even more than that, like
Well,
3-4 bosses or something.
Yeah,
But
I hope it's
they'll
not
have to
exactly
do
like
something.
Ruby Sanctum, because I mean that was pretty much worthless for 10 mans to go through.
You just fight all 10 of Gul'dan's fingers in the raid.
That's it. But yeah, so I think that we have to see something. I don't know exactly what's going on, but Cory Stockton did say that he said Hellfire Citadel is planned to be the last raid. It wraps up things, and it's hard to beat Archimonde as a final boss. I'm not so sure about that. I think that's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not so sure that's like. I think everybody else wants to kill Gul'dan.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But apparently that's not going to happen. That they never actually kill the guy; he just runs away. And then they have a trial, and then he gets out of that, and then somebody else kills him. So, and he also did say that anything can happen between now and whatever the team does next.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
right
they
now
probably
they're
just haven't made a decision,
yeah.
and so they're just leaving it open.
It's going to be really rough if they do it that way, because I mean they've got BlizzCon coming up, so I know that everybody's going to be busy going into that, and if we're talking about 6 months from now, that's essentially BlizzCon time, right? So
Can't we get a troll raid? I love troll raids.
troll raid.
Yeah.
I love
Another
troll raids.
raid.
There we go.
Yeah,
Something
They'll
with an
just
apostrophe in it.
Release Zul'Gurub.
yeah. Zul'Aman timelines. I love that.
ZG revisited.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do. It's not going to be, I mean, I know they've said that they're not going to do this, but they're going to do this. It's going to be like, we're not giving you a new raid. You're just going to be able to time walk Dragon Soul again.
Oh jeez. Dragon Soul, that you're pulling that one out?
Yeah.
Oh.
Everyone's favorite raid.
Oh, Ultraxian. Well, I still have nightmares about not being able to beat Ultraxian for weeks on end with my team. It was horrible. Man.
As long as they give us Overwatch beta keys within a few months, I don't care if they release anything.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're banking on.
Overwatch will stave everything off. It's totally
pretty
fine.
much.
Yeah, that and Heroes and all that other junk.
I mean, there's lots to do, and no people aren't just sitting around waiting for WoW to release stuff. They're playing Heroes, they're playing Hearthstone, whatever. They're playing
Yeah.
the next MMO.
Yep.
Which will fail. But yeah, so it's there's lots to do within the Blizzard space, within the launcher games that they have. So
Right. Right.
so because people are arguing, I've seen people say, well, Hearthstone is your content release for WoW because you can, everybody switches over to the new thing whenever they release it.
Yep.
To play it instead of the WoW thing. Because it's a community thing. Like Colt said last week, it's the people, and it's the that's what makes everything
really
so fun. Because these encounters, I mean, I'm doing the same thing constantly that I've always done. But basically, I'm looking at the same things. I'm looking at timers. I'm looking at things on the poop on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the people, and it's if you can have a patch released in a different game, the novelty of that, might be enough to pull people away, even if there is something new in WoW. So
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yep. One more thing before we get going here, guys. I know that San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend, and we saw a bunch of stuff from the Warcraft movie. And we've all seen pictures of like the armor and the dagger that is huge. I mean, it's ginormous, and like all the different things. And we've had panels now, Chris Metzen was talking about how there's going to be a Warcraft movie graphic novel prequel called Bonds of Brotherhood. It's going to be amazing. Duncan Jones was talking about how he only has like 10 visual effects sequences left, and then the movie's in the can. They have a trilogy kind of loosely mapped out and blah, 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 all this stuff. And they show the stupid trailer at Comic-Con. And then they say that they're not going to release that trailer to the public until BlizzCon, essentially. They say
November.
November. Oh, come back in November. Darius, is this okay?
This happens all the time, and I can understand why they would do this. They don't want to drum up interest in the movie. I mean, obviously we're interested in it, but because we are aware of it and we're tied into it very, very closely. But the average person has no idea, and they don't want to drum up interest right now and have that die off over the next 6 to 9 months and have people forget about it and then get angry that the movie's not out or whatever. It makes total sense to do that. They'll start in November. They'll start hammering people with trailers and things like that. Right. But as a fan, obviously I want to see this thing, and I'm actually really, really disappointed in the geeks that went to Comic-Con and didn't figure out a way to record this. Like, right? You have a phone, don't you guys? Yeah. Come on. You guys are giving geeks a really bad name. So
it's got to get leaked.
You should be ashamed.
It's got to get leaked at some point, right? I don't know.
You'd think, but the last one didn't get leaked when they did this last time.
That's true.
So I'm just disappointed. I'm not disappointed in Legendary. I'm disappointed in nerds.
I don't know. I'm like, come on. As a WoW fan, I want to see it, but I get it. It's not coming out for another year, folks. So let's just calm the F down, right? And let's just do that for a while and take a step back and not nerd rage over that. We have so much more to nerd rage over, like Hellfire Citadel being the last raid.
Yeah, there's more pertinent issues at hand. Like, the movie's gonna come out. It's gonna be good, and you're gonna see a trailer, and
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. Are you kidding me? Everybody's
gonna love it. It's not gonna change anything if you see it now or not. But
I was really surprised at the non-video game nerd reactions to the stuff that they saw.
What did you see?
There was a Schmoes Know, I don't know, they do movie reviews and stuff thing, and they have no idea about the Warcraft world or anything, and they were impressed. It looked legit, and the flyover with the
with that app?
Mobile app. Yeah. The mobile app was amazing.
Yeah, so they did
everything looked great.
It was a Legendary VR app for your phone or for whatever, and you could do a flyover or Stormwind, and it does look pretty cool. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
it seems like they're really, so far. I mean, we have no idea until we see it, but
that's why the movie got pushed back, is because they spent all that time on working on the app.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Just like Battle Pets, push back a raid tier or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin runs a website, like kind of a geeky news website called Geek Tyrant. I don't know, you may have heard of it, but they're all down in Sen at Comic-Con right now, and I mean, he's a movie buff. That's what he does. Like, I mean, they have like gaming parts of their website and all that stuff, but I mean, he's mainly involved in the movie. Like, he watches movies nonstop all the time, and he had nothing but awesome things to say about the Warcraft trailer. And he basically said it was the most excited he's been for a movie since Lord of the Rings, since that trailer came out. So he says it looks amazing.
And they use the same guys for like the armor and weaponry and stuff like that. They use some of the same guys to make that stuff. So it's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys out there haven't seen the pictures or anything like that, go over to Wowhead or to Legendary Films. I'm sure it has all that stuff on their site as well. So it's really cool stuff. And I think that with that, we probably should go. I mean, we talked to you guys. We're running a little long today, which is totally cool. Don't get me wrong. We've loved talking to you, but now it's time to go. Now it's time to get the heck out of Dodge. But thank you guys for joining us today. And just so that people know exactly how to get a hold of you, to watch your stuff, all that kind of stuff. Tovo, where should they go? What's the main place that people should go to check out your stuff?
Our Twitter is LOS_gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to check out our channel, it's LOS Gaming Show on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can just Google it. You'll find everything you need.
Right.
As far as that, we don't have our personal LOS Twitter thing set up yet, but this is all coming once we can slow down and take a breath, get everything set up. So.
Imagine that. You want to take a breath? Well, you'll be able to, because if this is the last raid tier, you'll have about a year, right?
Yeah.
So
gotta get a lot of polish on all the things we need to do.
By the way, Tattva, I heard that it took you 2 hours to make a treasure chest animation thing. Well,
hopefully Tovo's exaggerating.
I was sitting there with you watching you.
I know. But no, like,
You were just watching, like mocking him, or like, why couldn't you help?
Probably.
Yeah.
well, because like the funny thing is like I'm probably doing everything wrong, or the
Sure.
hardest way possible, because I'm just making it up as I go along.
Sure.
And so I just recorded my, opening a treasure chest in the garrison, that little animation, and pops out, and it's like, oh, and so we're just like, oh, that would be cool at the end of the video. I have a little treasure chest for loot, and so I recorded the garrison thing, and then I'm sitting there frame by frame cropping this thing out, like, and every little jiggle and bounce, I'm just like moving the mask, and so it was just like, ugh.
Every idea I have, just anytime I have a new idea, he just shakes his head. He's like, "That's at least 4 hours."
I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
So,
It's good stuff. Well, it was a treat to have you guys on, and
Thanks for having
I definitely want to have you on again at some point soon. I know that next week we're going to be off because I have to be out of town, and so we'll be around. But yeah, we'll have you on again hopefully soon.
anytime.
But first I want to get to 5-star reviews on iTunes. Played Darius' favorite song,
Yeah.
and
My job today.
did you do your job today? Oh,
Well,
nice
I
work.
didn't want to, because the 2 5-star reviews we got were actually only talking about Coltrane.
Well, that was kind of a big
So-
deal. And again, thank you guys for so many positive things that you said on the YouTube channel. That doesn't happen a lot, where you see a lot of positive things on the YouTube video. It's mostly like, oh, this show is garbage. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
I don't even read them. It's just
So who do we have to thank this week for the 5 stars?
we have Mule Tide and we have Sweaty Undercarriage.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I guess. Thanks for the 5 stars. Thanks for all the great comments on YouTube, and yeah. And if you haven't seen last show, go watch last show, because all the feels are in it for sure. Any shout outs this week, fellas?
I have a couple.
Okay.
I have this is from a couple weeks ago, because we haven't done a show in like 2 months. But I have a shout out to Pale Rider. He was a DK that came with us. He pugged with us. I think Tovo and Tattva, you guys were there too, and we were on Sokrathar on normal, trying to kill that, and it was basically a wipe, and there's like 10% left on the boss. Everyone's dead, and he happens to be in the construct, and he solos the last 10% in the construct.
Whoa.
While just trying to get him to die. Yeah.
Wow.
It was really good. It was really epic.
Wow.
So a shout out to him, and then a shout out to Lukos, who is a hunter on our raid team. He recently heard that one of our raiders was running a computer from like the 70s, basically, and he boxed up a whole bunch of computer parts and mailed them off to him.
Nice. Apple IIe, was that it?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So shout out to Lukos for doing that. That was awesome.
That is amazing. I want to say happy birthday to Jules Scott. She is dinging today. So happy birthday, Jules Scott.
Happy birthday, Jules.
And also, I want to say thanks to all the guys that joined in for the first meeting of Good to the Last Drop, my morning raid team on Thursday mornings. It's so weird being back in morning raiding. But it was great. It was a lot of fun. And I'm gonna bail on this music right now. Just gonna do that.
You're just gonna bail on it?
Yep, just gonna bail on that. It was almost done, so I had to do it sooner than I planned. And we'll play this one. There we go. We cannot do this show without you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to rate us on iTunes. Thanks for all the shout outs on YouTube as well. Thanks for the feedback. We had some questions this week and we couldn't get to them. But please feel free to join in on the conversations at any time. And you can email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call us and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on Twitter at converttoraid or even individually. Isn't that right, Darius?
Yeah, you've got Pat Crane at Pat Crane.
Yeah.
With a K. You've got Darius at Boardmine, and you've got Coltrane. No.
You can still follow him at the _ Coltrane. That's totally cool. And of course, you got the LOS guys at LOS_gaming, right?
That's right.
That's okay. I got it right. Good. And you can join the Bazooba Guabo Nation by heading over to converttoraid.com, where we have downloads, we have forums, we have tons of links for raiders, we have those boss strats from the LOS Gaming guys, and so much more. It's all over at converttoraid.com. Live feed, video show, Game Breaker TV, and also on alphageekradio.com for those guys that want to listen on their mobile devices. The audio show is everywhere on the internet and also on our site, so make sure to check it out. And you can check out all the friends over at the Signals Media All-Star Network at signalsmedia.com. I think that's it. Let's just call it a show. What do you say?
Just wipe it.
Thanks again. We'll wipe it. Let's wipe it. 1% wipe. Oh, okay. That's going to be it. But for all the guys, and thank you guys again, Tattva and Tovo.
Thank you.
It's been amazing to have you guys here, and hopefully you
CTR
guys.
has been so great.
Well, and it's been a real pleasure to have you. So thank you. And for all the guys at Convert to Raid, bye bye everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.